So, today we're going to talk about Walden by Henry David Thoreau, or Henri David something. I don't know. Whether it is French or English, it doesn't matter, but I think it is a pretty cool book from the netaliason.com in terms of a summary. And it is a philosophical book, and I'm very looking forward to that because I assume that it is just actually pretty great. It is rated 8 out of 10, which is also relatively high. And anyway, I haven't gone through this book, but something that I have to say is it a coincidence or is it just on purpose that the book is called Walden and there is a forest as a picture there with a hut and whatnot? Because the thing is, Wald means forest in German. And so Walden, which is actually the exact same way how you're writing it, Wald with E-N. Yeah, I don't know. I really loved every part of Walden and not about the mechanics of life there. The philosophy is beautiful and empowering, discussing taking your own path, living simply, happiness, and standing out confidently. Skip over the financial statements. If you try to trudge through them, you might get bored and not finish. Well, yeah, it's like, some books do just have some parts that are just not as good as some other parts. Most often, actually, not some books, but most often. Summary notes. We commonly do not remember that it is, after all, always the first person that is speaking. I should not talk so much about myself if there were anybody else whom I knew as well. And I do have to say, just talk less. It's a very good advice. Talk less. Why? Because you're going to know the other person more, because people indeed like to talk about themselves. So it's actually a win-win situation. You're going to know them better, or you're going to actually know them. First of all. Second of all, they're going to like you more because they like talking about themselves. Third of all, that's actually it. It's, I think, enough even. I think. Anyway, I see a young man, my townsman, whose misfortune is to have inherited farms, houses, barns, cattle, and farming tools, for these are more easily acquired than got rid of. Better if they had been born in the open pasture and suckled by a wolf, that they might have seen with clearer eyes what fields they were called to labor in. Is it about just being grateful? I think it is. I'm actually not sure, but I think it's still great. Most men, even in this comparatively free country, through mere ignorance and mistake, are so occupied with the factitious cares and superfluously coarse labors of life that its finer fruits cannot be buckled by them. Plucked. What does plucked mean? Removed, picked off. Have we forgotten to see the beauty? It's not forgotten, not really forgotten, because have younger generations not learned to see the beauty that we're having? It might be the case, I don't know. It might also be the case that older generations are not seeing the type of beauty that the younger generations are seeing. This could definitely also be the case. I am not quite sure. I mean, there's definitely going to be some differences in between those generations, whether it is my generation, the generation before, or whether it is just my grandparents and my generations. Of course, there is going to be just more differences between some generations, and there is going to be less differences between some other generations. But I don't know. I do think that yes, beauty has changed. When it is actually about people, there's going to be other beauty ideals at this point in time than it was 100 years ago or 50 years ago. Definitely, 100%. But I don't know. I do think that yes, just what beauty is and what's nice, and just actually quite a lot of things changed. There's always going to be some universal things. There's always going to be some things that are just gonna, quote unquote, always stay the same or quite stay the same. But I don't know. I do think that there just has to change something, or there probably has changed something. Yeah. Most men, even in this comparatively free, I do not want to highlight everything. The finest qualities of our nature, like the bloom on fruits, can be preserved only by the most delicate handling. Yet we do not treat ourselves nor one another thus tenderly. Fucking think about that. And again, a highlight. Fuck. See how he covers and sneaks, how vaguely all the day he fears not being immortal nor divine, but the slave and prisoner of his own opinion of himself, fame won by his own deeds. Public opinion is a weak tyrant compared to our own private opinion. What a man thinks of himself, that it is which determines or rather indicates his fate. Which is definitely the case. 100%. And I do feel like I should not be highlighting this one, so I'm not gonna. Even though it is very important. But I don't just wanna... Well, I'm gonna take it. Because it's important, like, yeah. The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. What is called resignation is confirmed desperation. What is resignation? Leaving, standing down, stepping down. What is desperation? Torture, torment. I mean, yeah, I do have to say, like, if you have to say something and if you think that it is important, then I would also say it and stand up. Which is basically what Nat said in this small little summary of this summary. That is also about confidence and standing up for yourself and standing up confidently and stuff. Which I think is very important and which I think is just truly something we have to talk and think about. It is never too late to give up our prejudices. No way of thinking or doing, however ancient, can be trusted without proof. I have lived some 30 years on this planet and I have yet to hear the first syllable of valuable or even earnest advice from my seniors. Earnest advice, I'm sorry. Or earnest, I'm actually not quite sure. Well, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Of course, the advice, once again, there is going to be some universal advice, but there's going to be some advice that is just only applicable to their time and their generation. And, things change. And sometimes also the advice that we should be giving or that is good to give does also change. Could a greater miracle take place than for us to look through each other's eyes for an instant? Other people are amazing. That's what I have to say. To know that we know what we know and that we do not know what we do not know, that is true knowledge. Yeah, it's also like we know that we don't know by whomever it is, I don't know. But yeah. Man has invented not only houses, but clothes and cooked food, and possibly from the accidental discovery of the warmth of fire and the consequent use of it, at first a luxury, arose the present necessity to sit by it. Yes, it's actually the case, The thing is, if you're just not used to certain things, then they're going to be a luxury. But once you really get used to them and once it is quote-unquote normal that you're having them, then it is, of course, no luxury anymore. Which I think can be a problem, can be, very important, can be. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. For some people, this is going to be a luxury. For some people, that is going to be a luxury. But I do not want to say that it is just universally the case that, okay, once you're used to something, it's not going to be a luxury. Of course, there's just enough people that say like, okay, I have water. And once you think about it once again, it is amazing. You don't have to die because you have water, you can buy it, you can just drink it out of the tap if this is just good at your place and stuff like this. So I think it also has something to do with consciously thinking about it and re-evaluating what you're having and whatnot. So we're told the New Hollander goes naked with impunity while the European shivers in his clothes. It is impossible to combine the hardiness of these savages with the intellectualness of civilized man. ? According to Liebig, or however, man's body is a stove and food the fuel which keeps up the internal combustion in the lungs. In cold weather we eat more, in warm less. Which, I mean, I gotta have to say, like, it makes sense that you eat more in cold weather, because when it is cold, you're also burning more calories. Period. So it's just, it does make sense. Most of the luxuries and many of the so-called comforts of life are not only not indispensable, but positive hindrances to the evolution of mankind. There are nowadays professors of philosophy, but not philosophers. Yet it is admirable to profess because it was once admirable to live. To be a philosopher is not merely to have subtle thoughts, nor even to found a school, but so to love wisdom as to live according to its dictates, a life of simplicity, independence, magnanimity, and trust. It is to solve some of the problems of life, not only theoretically, but practically. There's a lot of really great thoughts in there, yet it is admirable to profess because it was once admirable to live. Live, yes, to live. This alone is just fucking amazing. When he has obtained, I can't read today, I don't know why, those things which are necessary to life, there is another alternative than to obtain the superfluities, and that is to adventure on life now, his vacation from humbler toil having commenced. Yet not the less, in many cases, did I think it worth my while to weave them, and instead of studying how to make it worth man's while to buy my baskets, I studied rather how to avoid the necessity of selling them. The life rich men praise and regard as successful is but one kind. Why should we exaggerate any one kind of the expense of the others? Interesting thoughts. All men want not something to do with, but something to do, or rather something to be. In the long run, men hit only what they aim at. Therefore, though they should fail immediately, they had better aim at something high. Amazing. Really indeed the case, And it is something that I've been talking about just a million times. If you really aim high, the chance of you hitting something, whether it is something that's really low or even just really high, is way higher than if you already just be like, well, I'm gonna aim low. The only thing that you can hit when you're aiming low is something that's low. But when you're aiming high, you can hit everything. Period. I never in all my walks came across a man engaged in so simple and natural an occupation as building his house. Thoreau's descriptions of home building make me want to build my own cabin at some point. I think it's actually pretty great. I mean, building something in general is pretty great, and also repairing things. I've seen that. I mean, sometimes just doing something with your hands is an amazing thing, period. Just amazing. It really can be one of the most amazing things there is in life. I never in all my walks how could youths better learn to live than by at once trying to experiment of living? Which I think is applicable to quite a lot of things in life. The best way to just figure out whether you like something or not is to just do it. What it is the job, what it is just the partner, what it is whatever. We do, I think, just really have to try out things to then also see and really know that it is either something that we really like to do or something that we absolutely hate to do. Which would have advanced the most at the end of a month. The boy who had made his own jackknife from the ore which he had dug and smelted, reading as much as would be necessary for this, or the boy who had attended the lectures on metallurgy at the institute in the meanwhile, and had received a Rogers penknife from his father. Very, very, very difficult question, I gotta have to say. But yes, indeed, I mean, doing things, it's gonna learn you so much. It is insane. Just doing things and being like, well, I'm gonna try it out and see what's happening. It's fucking amazing. It really fucking is. So just motherfucking do something. The spending of the best parts of one's life earning money in order to enjoy a questionable liberty during the least valuable part of it reminds me of the Englishman who went to India to make a fortune first in order that he might return to England and live the life of a poet. Totally the case. Why should you work the most fucking job just for the sake of just for the sake of nothing, just for the sake of absolutely fucking nothing, why should you just, I don't know. Why should you rip your anus apart like just, I don't know, an American fridge so big, so that you can make as much money as you can, which is not literally meant, by the way. Anyway, the thing is, even if it is, just I don't care. Why? It doesn't make too much sense, Why would you work just an ass job all day fucking long? Just, no. Please don't do that. It is not a good idea. It's not smart. You should not be doing this. Let's see. For more than 5 years, I maintained myself thus solely by the labor of my hands, and I found that by working about 6 weeks in a year, I could meet all the expenses of living. 6 weeks, motherfucker. How much money are you making? Fuck, man. And then I let it lie. Fellow purchase for a man is rich in proportion to the number of things which he can afford to let alone. We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, but not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn. which does not forsake us in our soundest sleep, I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by a conscious endeavor. Totally the fucking case. Nothing to say about that. Well, should I actually go through the whole one? I'm actually not quite sure, man. I kind of feel like, well, just, let it be it. But also, I'm gonna go through it. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what I had to teach, and not when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. Fuck, man. It's also amazing. Why should we live with such hurry and waste of life? We are determined to be starved before we are hungry. Time is but the stream I go a-fishing in. I drink at it, but while I drink, I see the sandy bottom and detect how shallow it is. Its thin current slides away, but eternity remains. Society is commonly too cheap. We meet at very short intervals, not having had time to acquire any new value for each other. You want room for your thoughts to get into sailing trim and run a course or two before they make their port. Great. Young man who had ceased to be young and had concluded that it was safest to follow the beaten track of the professions. No, not good. If he is surrounded by mountainous circumstances and a Achillean shore whose peaks overshadow and are reflected in his bosom, they suggest a corresponding depth in him, but a low and smooth shore proves him shallow at that side, or on that side. If we lived in the present always and took advantage of every accident that befell us, like the grass which confesses the influence of the slightest dew that falls on it, and did not spend our time in atoning for the neglect of past opportunities, which we call doing our duty, we loiter in winter while it is already spring. The surface of the earth is soft and impressible by the feet of man, and so with the paths which the mind travels, how worn and dusty, then must be the highways of the world, how deep in the ruts of tradition and conformity. I learned this, at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live in life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. However mean your life is, meet it and live it. Do not shun it and call it hard names. It is not so bad as you are. It looks poorest when you are richest. The fault finder will find faults even in paradise. Love your life poor as it is. You may perhaps have some pleasant, thrilling, glorious hours even in a poor house. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. There is more day to dawn. The sun is but a morning star. Is but a morning star. A lot of great things. A lot of really great things. But I'm anyway gonna end the recording there. I hope that I've been able to just share some knowledge or share some thoughts that you can get something out. And yeah. I wish you the best health of happiness and also success, and also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered, which basically means being a nice person and also being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty cool thing. Something else to think about is what could you do, what could you say, what could you make that is really going to change somebody's life, because I totally believe that we can all do something, and yeah, that's it. We all can do something fucking amazing. That's what I totally believe in. 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change, and what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a pretty cool thing. And yeah, thank you very much for going through this with me. I just totally appreciate it. And yeah, I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. And bye-bye. I wish you the best. Please stay patient. Please stay kind. And please just stay a cool person. And yes, bye-bye.